Market on open imbalance. The S&P 500 a buy side of 300 million, Nasdaq 100 a buy side of 14.4 million, Dow 30 a buy side of 54 million, and the Mag 7 a buy side of 2.4 million.
Morning, good morning.
Hello there.
Opening right at our liquidity here into 805 offer. Watching to see if we can get over or if this is going to hold. Liquidity resting 805 to 822 right at open. Why is this on an NQ chart? NQH.
So Nvidia shares opened 2.5% higher to reach an intraday record high.
Russell is pumping. Watching our reaction at a 298 for a potential loss of momentum into the POC shift.
So Fitch Ratings note the US faces several fiscal policy challenges in 2025.
ES and NQ at offer, holding so far. Just kind of waiting to see how this develops. Russell leading upside. NQ holding ETH high as supportive. So our ES holding ETH high so far is supportive, but don't know if long it lasts as of yet. Offer desperately wants to get us below 70.75. That's kind of my line in the sand for short term. 75, 70. Just gonna keep an eye on that area. See if bid's able to maintain or not. Or if offer steps below. Testing in below now, watching to see if offer can accelerate on a look back in. I would like to see 70.75 hold offer. Looking for this to rotate down to about 47 if it does. Out half here from 70.75, so we push down into a 40. This is our mean reversion target. Take us off some risk. See if we get continuation down or if bid's able to be found here. That is first trade. Good morning. Not looking for anything until we see a very clear hold below previous day value low into our 38s. I expect bid to be here, at least short term. Russell starting to show a bit of weakness, failure to get over previous day value high. That pullback level should be about 94.7 is what I'm thinking. Going to be watching this, our ETH high here. Delete that. Watching for a bid to occur here. This is our POC shift, so see if we can hold this 38 to 50 on NQ with Russell finding a low here into ETH high for a little bit of a bid. Or if Russell starts to lead down off of a failure to get over VWAP on a retest. Basically, does this hold as resistance? If it does, then we continue downward. For NQ, we're looking to see if we can trap sellers below previous day value low and then push back up, or if this is going to hold as resistance for a continuation down. We want to see 50 go supportive if this is going to hold on NQ. Not a ton of signs of life so far.
So Fed Sparkin says the Fed remains highly committed to the 2% inflation target.
I'm going to give this a minute to breathe. Russell's still holding. I'm thinking this could potentially be a trap here in NQ. Just keeping an eye on. Just watch for your offer into 40 to 50 above on any sort of retest. Needs to show 50 as supportive for any upside action. This is where we'd be expecting reoffer to be if it was going to be anywhere. Would be this yellow zone. Either holds as resistance or it flips supportive. Russell getting a slight bid. Yes, getting a slight bid. Yes, we want to see over 38s. NQ, we want to see over 50s and bid. Russell, we want to see over VWAP and bid. Or these will be resistance. First target here off of our hold of 40 to 50 as resistance, taking out our wick low. Watching to see if our offer can hold.
Price pressures. We have to be tougher with rates.
If it can, we'll look for this offer here into this 10 to 20 for a continuation down. I'm out half, leaving runner. Watching to see if we get our reoffer of 10 to 20 or if it just continues down. This area is a bit tough. Offer attempting to hold 20s, Russell diverging, retesting VWAP. We'll see if this holds his resistance again for a loss of momentum in the market, or if we can bid over. This is the same place we rejected last time. If we don't see 20s hold, I can see this rotating back up to 45 here on NQ pretty quickly. We either want to see this rotate into our 40-45 or see a very clear reoffer below this 10 and then take out this low for a clear sign that this wants to continue downward. But I think this liquidity test into our 40 to 50 makes more sense. Just look to see if bid can maintain here now that we've recovered, or if we offer below and then continue down. Watching to see if sell side steps in here again into 40 to 50. Confirmation again needs to be under 710 for this to just be a seller. Russell retesting our high. I'm a bit curious. This is why I got a bit I don't want to say worried, but why we thought this might come back up to 40-45 is because Russell was pushing up and diverging. Again, we want to see bids here, right, in this zone. So far they're maintaining. For sell side, we want to see sellers positioned here, but then we want to see them reoffer below this zone, showing a willingness to then trap these guys and then push for a new low. If this holds, then this is just going to balance in between until either bids run out of ammo, right, and we can't get back over this 50, or we push below this 10. As long as RTY has momentum, I don't think you should attempt to short. Testing our 50 now here on NQ. Whoa, my charts are lagging. What is going on? I'm out 1 here on this look above, looking for 70, 75 next target if we can hold 50s. I just want to see this edge basically now hold for a rotation back up to our offer from our first short, just like we have already pathed. Out 1 more here as we push into 70. 1 left, 37 average. Russell losing momentum. Keep that in mind as NQ comes into our upper target. If we can't get back over 98s here, expect this to be a value retest now from our look back in, right? And then we'll be looking for a rotation down. Need to see a very clear look back above and then bid, ideally. Or this is going to just be acceptance back inside value. Russell's a bit messy. I'm just going to mark this POC as a reference point. 93s and then 805 liquidity. See if we can hold 70-75s on NQ, supportive. Again, Russell starting to diverge back down. That loss of momentum might be, might hurt us. Uh, Putting my stop at 50 here for my 37 average. That's rough. Because even if it holds that, that's still bullish. I think I just have to hold this break even, actually. Sucks, but I don't really know a good reference point. I think you can be pretty... If we break 50s, then I don't have a ton of faith in this flag. I'm just kind of keeping an eye and seeing if we can hold a flagging pattern here with 50 being like the lowest you'd want it to go, or we're probably headed back to my break-even point at 37. Right, just our previous day value low, hold. Just kind of keeping an eye on this. What do we need to see it break back over? Looks like 84. Testing into our 84 now. Russell's still leading up. That's why it's like hard to want to be bearish here. I know that we've got sellers above, but is this just going to flag out? As long as RTY is continuing to push, like I can't really be bearish. We've got like very clear absorption up into this 84 to 800 basically.
So Trump is to hold a news conference at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago.
I think this comes back down into our 50 to 36. Watching RTY to bounce VWAP and watching our fill of this LVN here on NQ. We failed to get over 84s, so with this lower high here, I'm just looking for this LVN to be taken out, and then for a
10
bid to
a.m.
step in
Eastern
here,
time, get
and then
US
ideally
jobs,
push
job
back over
openings,
84s like
forecast
this.
7.74 million on the prior 7.744 million. US ISM Services PMI forecast 53.5 on the prior 52.1. US ISM Services Employment forecast 51.4 on the prior 51.5. US ISM Services Prices Paid forecast 57.5 on the prior 58.2. US ISM Services New Orders forecast 54.2 on the prior 53.7. And Canadian IV PMI prior 52.3. And Fed's Barkin says consumer debt is nowhere near the alarming levels of the 2000s.
Watching Russell on the previous day value high here at 301. NQ holding our 50 edge so far, but need to see it get over 84s, so this doesn't really mean much. It'll just be another lower high. But it's a good scalp at least. 20 points so far from 50s.
So, according to a survey, OPEC December oil output falls by 50,000 barrels per day from November to 26.46 million barrels per day, led by the UAE and Iran.
I'd risk off one if you have a position on from 50s. Got to get over 84 in bid for confirmation, or this is just going to be where our seller's sitting. This is 84, secondary target here. Watching to see if we can get the look above and hold. Following pathing pretty much to a T so far. We just need to see acceptance. I'm flat here for 1,000 on that contract. We'll see if we can bid here. It's just going to be so hard to get through this area. Like, we know that there's absorption up here, so it just made more sense to risk off and wait to see if we get acceptance than trying to just leave a runner. We're retracing the entire move off that failure here. This candle is crazy. Let's see how gross this action looks on a footprint here. Disgusting.
At 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we get US JOLTS job openings, forecast 7.74 million on the prior 7.744 million. US ISM data, services PMI, forecast 53.5 on the prior 52.1. Services employment, forecast 51.4 on the prior 51.5. Services prices paid, forecast 57.5 on the prior 58.2. Services new orders, forecast 54.2
Deleting
on the
this,
prior
know that it's played.
53.7. We also get Canadian IV PMI, prior 52.3.
Gotta wait for something new. I'd personally look for a look into like 37s here, 38s. One more leg down off of this failure at the highs. And then maybe just like for a liquidity grab and then a continuation. Kind of what I'm looking at right now. Off of this failure, right, we have a catalyst for a new low. Off of failure to hold 84. So it doesn't make sense to buy here again until we take out this low. Low taken. Let's see if that's all we need or if we need to go lower. Just keep an eye on 30s and then I'll look back over 50s if we're bullish. If we're bearish, then we just keep going down from here. I'm flat, by the way. Really nice reoffer off our pivot, but I'm not in it. We have news in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Holding our liquidity at 10 to 20 so far. Need to get back into the auction at 50s for this to mean anything. Or just expect this action. I won't be taking a trade until news comes out. Can't be bothered. This should be 10, not 12. I keep saying 10,
remaining,
and then I
with US
don't even have it on my chart.
PMI.
One minute until news. Actually, really 30 seconds.
Nvidia falls 2.6% to a session low after erasing the opening gains.
$15 seconds.
$10 seconds.
That's a lie. 2 seconds.
54 spot 1, 54 spot 1 higher than forecast, 53 spot 5. US JOLTS job openings 8.098 million, 8.098 million higher than forecast, 7.74 million. ISM services employment 51.4, 51.4 as expected. Services prices paid 64.4, 64.4 higher than forecast, 57.5. Services new orders 54.2, 54.2 as expected. Canadian IV PMI 54.7, 54.7. Seeing some upside in the dollar, downside in stocks.
This is target here for Russell. We'll see if we get anywhere from here. Previous day POC. If this doesn't hold, we'll watch for this go offer and then rotate down to 78.8 for a new low. Watching for something like this. Or a bid back up. This is target here on NQ. If you were playing this leg down, if you had the balls to play news. Following our pathing, now into target.
So JOLTS job openings prior revised 7.839 million.
If we don't see a strong bid at 50s, there's probably one more leg down into 25. See what our reaction is here. As long as Russell's continuing to fall, you're going to be in a rough spot. This is ADR on RTY. There's so much liquidity down here, potentially, for NQ into this 25. It's in a very interesting area. We're just waiting on RTY to figure its shit out. The
US 10-year Treasury yield
book is incredibly thin right now.
77%.
I do not recommend trading until that liquidity comes back. Watching this look back over 25s. Let's see if we can bid it.
The euro falls versus the US dollar, last down 0.2%.
Trading about half size right now. Still pretty illiquid. No touch for me still. Nice bid off of 25s, but it's too illiquid to actually trade this with real money.
So traders no longer fully price in Fed rate cut before July.
I don't have a set stop loss, Patel, but usually I try to keep it. I try to keep my risk around 10 to 15 points on average. I usually know if I'm wrong earlier than that. I don't use like a bracketed stop. That's what you're asking. Different trades have different risk. It sucks that we're not playing this, but honestly, you don't want to be playing this. Like, I know we're going down and this candle's crazy, but no thank you. Yeah, not worth. I don't know, man. Al goes into low liquidity news sounds like not the move. Liquidity's coming back a little bit. Russell holding ADR, ES holding ADR, NQ testing ADR. We just watched to see how the sellers react into 590 to 610. I think we have like full reversal potential over 640. But first major pivot is 610. Testing into it now. We have a minute 30 left on this candle. Russell holding equal lows, ES higher low, NQ higher low. This is your first risk off if you traded 610s. Understand we have 30 seconds left on this 15-minute candle, and we're holding higher lows still. Russell's starting to lead down, but this is ADR on NQ and just back into our basing. We're watching to see if we can break the lows here or if this is going to get over 610s into new 15s. Unsure. Momentum is definitely to the downside. But again, like, take what you can get for right now into end of candle. Leave a runner. Yeah, so like Patel, like, do you see how like my areas of interest are usually around 10 points in size? Around 10 points, right? I don't know, like you maybe sometimes less, but you almost always around 10 points. So the areas that I try to interact with are almost always a 10-point increment because I'm either like right in that area and then we can play off of it, or I'm wrong and then we can flip our position. So I try to find like very particular areas to interact in so I know where I'm wrong or right very quickly, which is hence why I said my stops usually around 10 points. This is your next risk off here into our wick lows on NQ if you're trading off of 610s or 590 offer. Larger time frame target is around 436 below. If we can reoffer ADRs resistance, or just see a continuation down, I'll be looking for. This is kind of like our target down here.
1%.
Short-term target will be here into 510, 513 area. Russell diverging again. I think we have to wait until it gets up to our value test, up at 70, 72. For our next leg, either direction, on NQ. This is Russell coming into our value edge now, into our 70s to 72. ES into our 001 value edge, and NQ into our 590 resistance. We're looking for a loss of momentum on Russell for downside continuation, or a shift of value, right? A recovery of our RTY value and ES value if we're going to go back up. Again, we are waiting for this test into our value edge here before we decide which way we're headed. There's a lot of sell side liquidity who wants us to hold below this 610. Some punishment can definitely happen above 30s. Yeah, Russell holding our value edge, watching for retest. Same with ES, holding our 001 so far. See if we can bid. Buyers are desperately trying to get us back over 610s here on NQ. There's not really a bullish look for me until we can see that look over 610s and hold. Once we do, there's definitely a chance that this thing goes like mega bid. But until then, offer very much in control. That buyer just got absolutely absorbed into 610. Bid really attempting here into 90s. See what we can do here.
According to Politico, the hearing for Trump's Interior Secretary pick is to be January 14th.
$90 bid holding so far, looking over 610s, watching to see if we can get over 30s for squeeze. A lot of potential here.
Voice news disconnected.
That was so loud. We want to see this liquidity getting eaten here, hold of this area, and then bid in continuation with speed from this 10 to 32. We're eating up this liquidity void, right? This void on our footprint. We went over this in class yesterday. Wanting to see if buyers can eat this up. Build above our seller.
And according to Politico again, hearing for Trump's Energy Secretary pick is to be January 15th.
If we can't hold 610s, look for a rotation back down to 590 for liquidity. See if this bid can maintain here. Targeting 660. Yeah, it's 660, 67, like 680. Should be what you're looking for. If we can hold here. Got to show interest over 32s. This is already a fantastic trade off of 590. We need to see the bid now follow through over 32. Watching our look into 590s off the failure, just like we talked about. Bid's got to be here, or offer's going to take in control below 75. We'll watch to see if this offer's below or if it's able to bid and hold. As we push down into 32, if you're playing the flip off of 76, this has to be your first risk that you take off. Expect acceleration here. Watching our reoffer into this 30, and then looking for one more leg down into 436 potentially, off of a retest of our where our POC was here at 32s. So we're watching to see if something like this happens. And this is already 30 points. Let's see if we get more. RTY has to lose momentum again. Yeah, I mean, there's someone trying to absorb into this 500. I just don't know if they're going to be able to continue it or if sell side's able to put pressure below. We are 2/3 of the way to target here off of our hold of our 32 to 17 offer. Moving stops down. First target again. First like big risk off is going to be into 436, but you should be moving your stops down as we push. This is both Russell and ES value low, so just kind of keeping an eye on these areas as as NQ starts to lead down. But so far holding our pivot and pushing down, following our pathing so far off of our pivot. Here's your push into target. Again, this is first risk off based off of our pathing. Watching to see how we interact here as we push down into our 30s. Below this, look for 405-ish, just into this next little area of liquidity. You've got a VPOC into 250 on Russell. That's kind of what I'm targeting here for a cease of downside momentum as we take out this POC. I'll look for more downside on NQ if we start to push below this. Then we can start to look for this liquidity below. Until then, don't really have any interest until we see more downside leg below this Russell pivot. Just leave a runner, let it do its thing. Keeping an eye on Russell as we push down into 250. You should be feeling pretty good about this trade. It's almost 100 points. So far, finding that liquidity into our pivot on NQ and on Russell. Watching for our value edge retests here on ES and RTY to let us know if we're going to get more downside or not.
Majority Leader Scalise says the House aims to pass the budget reconciliation by Easter.
Either we recover these value edges or they'll hold us resistance. Unsure as of yet. Yes, flat with this Russell retest back up into our range high. Watching to see our reaction on Russell. Again, just wait for the loss of momentum on RTY, and then you get your next leg. NQ still just holding our target as supportive. No real... There's nothing here. It's where we thought it would be. Now it's just about figuring out where it needs to come back up to. We've got some liquidity up at like 65 to 70. Keeping an eye on that for a retest on NQ as Russell comes into this high. Watching to see if we can reclaim this or if offer starts to hold here. Again, ES flat. So don't expect any sort of like large shift until either RTY shows that it wants to trade back over the 60 or just expecting more downside. Yeah. True. What do you see at 57? RTY potentially leading us up here, keeping an eye on it, trying to break the high of our oscillation, seeing if we can find a bid. This 70 to 80 is the offer for me. We got to get through this. So far, eating through this liquidity. Buyers are really attempting. Just need follow through.
According to CNBC, Trump is to announce $20 billion investment to build new data centers.
Low-key watching to see if we get a loss of momentum here on Russell into our POC retest. The shift, and then look back down. Need to see if we can hold up here. See if we can hold this 70 to 80 now as supportive on NQ. Or if it flips offer again. I think you look 530 and then 550 here if we can continue this bid. I'm glad you made money off that trade, Teddy. Just tagged our 530. See if we get more. Russell showing weakness again. ES into POC. RTY trying to hold it as supportive. Oh yeah, next target above would be 50s, like 45, 50. So we push into that. Just need to see if RTY can find a higher low. Lots of momentum so far. I don't know how long I'm going to be on today. Probably till like 12:30. We'll see what the market does. It was a pretty good morning, so Not real reason to stick around. Should be moving your stops up as we push into our next target here. See our reaction into this 45 to 50. If we can get over this, then we look for our move to 90. Later, Cass. Great job. New 15s opening now.
The US to sell $95 billion in 4-week bills on January 9th to settle on January 14th.
I don't really see much here other than we hold this 30 edge or we rotate down to 5-tone. Just need to see how we develop. Ideally, we can flag and now hold this 30 above previous resistance, and then rotate to 90, but if we start to lose momentum, then we're going to have to come back down to previous liquidity. Coming down into our 510 bid, watching to see if liquidity eats up here. If bid can eat this up, or if this flips offer. I'd want this to be a pretty quick look, just into 510 or a little bit below, and then immediate bid back up, or offer is going to really start to take control. First risk off should be into 30s if you're playing off of 10 liquidity. We watch to see if we get a bid now here above 30s for our secondary buyers. Again, this is your first risk off. Trade's free, so just break even stop or move stops up to whatever you want. Watch to see if we can get continuation or not. Step flex. I doubt we hold 10s again if we test back into it here. Probably have to fill this LVN back down to 80s. So you want to see a higher low here, ideally, on NQ. 40 in Florida? That's crazy. Does everyone think it's like the end of the world? Ice Age. Sucks with sandals. End of the world in Florida. Damn. Unlucky. Negative 40 is crazy. Hell no. The seller is pretty adamant so far. Becoming less and less confident on a look over. We got our higher low, but we got to see this look over 60s for anything. Russell starting to lead down. Might need to see a test into 71 before we get any sort of upside on NQ into our POC here before we can go. Just gonna let this build before we decide on anything. Again, I think if we can't get over the 60, or if we fail to bid anything over 60 and hold, right? Like if we don't get this and then like a very strong bid off of it, anything from here is probably going to take out this liquidity, fill into 80s, and then we get a direction from here. Is Russell into POC. NQ retesting 510. Watch to see if it goes offer for the fill down to 80s. Need to see a very solid bid on RTY here and recovery of our 510s on NQ. Get me out of here.
Voice news disconnected.
Russell leading down. NQ inside candle on the 15. ES garbage. Watching to see if this Russell push down is going to lead NQ down as well. I want that 80 fill. Just don't know if we're going to get it. I just like don't want to execute here whatsoever. Middle of our range.
NVIDIA CFO says the Blackwell shipment is on track, as was expected.
If we can break over 50 to 60, like breakout feels really good with the 3-bar setup, with this just being an inside candle. But we got to get over this shit. If offer's just going to continue to hold here into 40 to 60, there's no shift, right? We're just holding POC a previous candle. It's an inside bar. It's a lower high. And you don't want to be trading it for upside. Right, we're just trading within this candle. And these 2 candles are just trading within our mother bar. And all of this is trading within our sell candle, right? So it's just, it's kind of ugly. But we want to see a break of these candle body highs and get through this imbalance that's here. Or sell side's just going to continue to show control here into our previous POC at this like 39.40 level. Bid needs to break out and start to really show interest over 60s for continuation higher. Without that, I don't see us really going anywhere. Should be your first risk off if you're shorting our high edge off of R40. Need to see a look and hold below 510s for continuation for the fill for 80s. RTY double bottoming so far. Held POC is resistant. Good first sign of bearish pressure. Just need to break this double bottom. Back to our 40 offer. Bid held our low, still just an inside bar. RTY holding our double bottom. Watching for our retest into POC into our 70.8. Again, bid needs to lift over this this 40 to 60 area on NQ, show support above 60s. With ideally a Russell break over POC. That's your most bullish setup. But it can go without it with these guys who are potentially trapped here into our low on NQ.
So Trump has now announced the $20 billion new investment across the US by DeMac Properties.
If offer sits here at 40s, we look for a rotation back down. Need to see a pretty strong bid and hold. We need to see Russell be able to break over this. Again, this is just oscillating between these pivots. We need to see a shift on Russell for NQ to have that breakout bias. If this guy gets off sides, we're going to be looking for that look back in and then rotation through with a new low because of this trapped seller, or trapped buyer, sorry. We really want to see buyers be able to hold this edge. We want to see them hold this edge and then look over 60s. That gives us breakout potential. RTY doing its part, looking over POC now.
So Trump adds further details saying the first phase is in Texas, Arizona, Illinois, and Michigan.
You can see the bid trying to step in here over 60s. See if we get any excitement. We have a minute left on this candle. $20 seconds. Again, as of right now, this is just a 3-bar, but there's potentially trapped buyers here if we don't see this bid maintain at our 40 level now. We want to see dips bought very quickly and then hold on open of new 15, or we look back through and then we probably come down into 80s.
And Trump reiterates the expedited reviews for investments over $1 billion.
Watching RTY retest POC. NQ coming down into this 40 edge. New 15s have opened.
And Trump says interest rates are far too high. And Trump says the Biden ban on offshore oil and gas drilling in vast areas will not stand, and I'll reverse it immediately.
There's a good chance that we may have trapped enough there. Really keeping an eye on our reaction as we push up. We need to show just interest over 60s. If offer wants to hold, then this is going to push down to 80s. Like, it has to. We can't just continue to rotate here forever. We either need to go for low liquidity fill into 80s, or we need to see this bid step up and hold 60s. What we're seeing right now is these guys are just getting caught off sides here. Market in blue. But we've got these guys who are off sides above. We need a break of this. This is untradeable at this point. Don't touch it. Here's your 80s. If you are short off of this, playing path down, this is your risk off. See our reaction here. Either bid holds and we rotate back through and we look for the recovery of 510s, or we start to see a much larger sell side momentum step in. Looking for either bid to be here and then look back into our range and then take out our highs, or offer stepping in and rotating us down into this pivot again. You got to see the recovery of our edge here, or it's going to be a failure from bid to recover our auction here, and then offer stepping in and then rotating us down. Pick off some risk here into 40s off the recovery of our 500 to 510. It's your first part of the rotation. Again, need to see this go over 60s in bid, or this is all we get, which is not bad, right? Immediate bid off of our 80s, and then recovery of our 510s, and then rotation through our balance off of the excess at the lows, recovery of our balance low, and then rotation back to our high. We get breakout now if this seller is trapped, and then we can see the secondary bid step in over 60s. You should just be in a runner. You should be mostly out of this trade. We lose this 500, 510, you should be fully out of this trade. If you have a one that's break even. gonna delete this sell side pathing that I played. Delete this. New 15s have opened. We're at our 500, 510, still bidding. If this goes, though, like, just don't touch it. There's nothing here.
Trump says something will have to be done with Canada and Mexico trade. And according to a court order, the US judge temporarily blocks special counsel Smith from releasing report until appeals court acts on request from Donald Trump's co-defendants. Trump says, I will change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
Jesus Christ. Watching our reoffer into 70 to 80, see if we get any more downside here. Move stops down as we approach 36. That's your risk off. You should be looking for liquidity into 40. 40 to 30. Target below that's 410s. 70 to 80 offer held. Great. These last two trades were a perfect example of what we went over after hours yesterday. This failure at our highs and then lower high here, look back in, looking for a new low off of this is the setup where it's like, okay, we don't want to interact now here. We were looking for a push into our 80s because we have created an excess outside of our balance. We then held our low, and now we're looking to see where the offer sits. And if it holds a lower high, I'm now watching for this to now push down to seek new liquidity into our 80s. This gave us a nice initial bid if you wanted to try to catch a knife, or you just play the entry back into our balance, right? And then you play the rotation back up into resistance. This giving you a really nice trade for this rotation. Same thing here of why we are looking for this bid to either hold this 500 to 510 or flip offer. And as soon as this leaves, there's nothing here. Like if this buyer is no longer interested in holding this, you have to know that we're going for a new low. It's just like liquidity holds this edge or we lose, we go through. Like it's that simple, especially after this move. So I really like this rotation from our 80s and then our rebid into our 500, 510 for a rotation up into our high. This was a really nice trade, either from this entry here or this entry here. I'm a really big fan of this offer from our 70 to 80 for this rotation down off of basically making this liquidity resistance and now seeking lower liquidity from where we bounced last time. The reason why we want to risk off into this 30 to 40 area is that this is the POC of this push up. So it should always be our first risk off because this is our first area where we're retesting liquidity from the pop. And we can see that POC right here. I can even move this down a bit, just so that's a bit more obvious. But our PVZ level's there as well, right? This is our where we want to be looking for that reversion. Secondary target, of course, is just going to be into our low. But I'm a big fan of those two trades because it's literally just the excess outside of balance, rotation back through balance.
And Trump says we need Panama and Greenland for economic security.
This man wants the world. Do we expect to lose 80 because of the lower high and because that was a liquidity grab, not a true buyer? We wanted 80s was our fill of this void. The reason I was looking for this is because it was our test into this liquidity off of, we're basically filling, think of this as an FEG. What happens when we fill the FEG low and then push off of it? Well, we filled that liquidity there, right? This imbalance that was created on this candle. I'm not looking for another look into this because we've showed no interest up in the highs. So we got a bounce and then we got a rotation through it, but that's all we're getting. I'm not looking for more. I was just looking for basically passive buyers to get filled here and then a rotation back through. We did the full rotation off of 80s. There's no reason to look for more liquidity because we then saw a lack of a bid step in at our 500, 510, and then a lack of a bid again at our 580. Like there's just nothing here. So why would what am I going to knife catch this on a secondary test? Doesn't make any sense. It's like a liquidity grab, right? So you want a liquidity grab should work once. It's fresh liquidity. So it's just a structural repair. Other than that, I don't. All we were doing was repairing this. Now that we've filled that structure, we know sellers in control and we're pushing down. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a buyer there or not, but I'm not trading it. I play primary test. I don't ever expect like the low to maintain from a liquidity grab if we failed to make a new high. It doesn't make sense. Like sell side's still in control. We are just pushing down. I don't really see the logic of why you would be expecting it. That's not like a flame either. I'm just like trying to think of like a scenario where that would make sense. I don't know if I can. Right, because we basically have all right, let's go over what we have here. We have a drop, a base, a drop, a base, a liquidity grab, a pop, a bid above our base, a rotation to our base, our previous base, a look and bid above, and a rotation up. And then we have absorption that basically just occurs into this offer that's sitting here. And then we have a hold and a rotation back down to our base. Right, this is our base. So we know we have a little bit of liquidity that's resting here below this base. And so after we see that look, we get a lower high, and then we have a seek into that liquidity from this lower high, trapping these buyers. Right, so these guys are now trapped, and then we have a lower high that's been put in back into our basing.
Panama.
Right, so now we have a rotation, and now we have a hold of our base high off of a hold of our base low, but this liquidity is still trapped up here. So now, because we failed to breach the high and show interest above, I'm now seeking a look into this bid liquidity that's resting from here. So I'm looking for a bid into this liquidity, and I want to see this then create an excess just like we saw at the high here. I want this liquidity to be very quick, and I want it to push us back into this basing. If it does that, we then look for the bid at the bottom of our base and a rotation back up to the high where this offer was. This is our primary target.
And Trump says NATO should be at 5% contributions.
Right? Because we've tested this liquidity, we were able to get back in, find a secondary buyer, and we rotated back up to our seller. Now from here, there's nothing for me. Either our runner from our 80s holds with this 500, 510, because we have interest from buyers here at our 500, 510 at the bottom of our basing, or our structure, or this doesn't hold, and it falls through, and then we expect a push below because we've already taken off this liquidity, and now we have to rotate further down. So because we've taken out this liquidity, I'm now watching it as a reoffer point because we showed no interest on the look into it. So now it has to be where I'm looking for sellers to be located because it's where it was where a buyer was, and I want to see if this is going to be where our seller is located to make this buyer offsides, right? And if they are, we now want to be playing off of this edge from where that liquidity was, right? We're now using it as an inverse imbalance, like an inverse gap, where we've now filled this. Either the bid holds here or it goes resistance, right? Either we hold the bid or it goes offer. So it went offer. So we look for the look back into it for a reoffer, and then we look for our rotation back down to where our liquidity was previously. And that's what we did, right? So this is just excess at our highs, and then a hold of our low, and then a lower high leading to a lower low, right? Lower high leads to a lower low. Lower low into our liquidity, and recovery of our range equals rotation back up to top of our balance. Failure to break this high and show any sort of initiative equals a push back down to our low, and we look for a reoffer and rotation for a lower low. Does that make sense? I hope you're here, because if not, it is what it is.
US natural gas futures are extending losses on forecasts for less heating demand this week.
These guys are offsides. These guys are offsides. Recovery and secondary buyer. Recovery and secondary seller. Right? Lower high. Higher low. You're good. Just that's when you look at that next to this price action, it should make sense. It's not perfectly lined up because I was just drawing, but like it's the same thing. The most important thing to grasp out of all this isn't new content. I need everyone to remember that we spent a month going over this setup. A month of classes going over this this setup, and then me going over it again yesterday. Again, like you have a range. We rotate in this range. How do we break out of this range? What needs to happen? Yeah, okay, so you need someone. Ideally, we find someone who's trapped at an edge, and then we look up, and then we ideally bid and hold, and then we push, right? Because these guys are trapped, and we've re-entered the range, and then we've continued onwards. So this is a very basic setup for a breakout that we'd look for. Sure. What's another setup that we look for? What happens in a balance? We continue to maintain balance. What are we looking for? So we've got a range, choppy price action. What happens where we try above, and then we fail to hold? We rotate down. Okay, awesome. We've rotated down. Now we look to see if a bid can maintain here, or if we trap below. And then if we can get back into the range, then we rotate back up, right? Because we have excess to the low, we have excess to the high. And we look for secondary buyers or secondary sellers to rotate the range, and this is your trade. right? So what are we looking for? Again, it's all about understanding excess above, offer, rotation through, new low. Because we have excess above, we expect a new low to form. We look up back above. If we're reoffering and it's a lower high and we can't get back over, I'm expecting this to continue downward. Because we have shown zero interest above. So on this reoffer, I'm expecting a new low to break this structure.
Repeating that if hostages are not back by the time I'm in office, all hell will break loose.
Why do I care about this area on NQ? What happened in this low? Well, we wicked into buy-side liquidity or demand, right? And immediately found a bid that pushed us over POC and created an imbalance on the way up. So I have an interest because there's clearly a bid who's attempting to push price, who's created this imbalance. So I'm not very bearish on the market until we show a willingness to trade below this imbalance. What I expect to happen is this imbalance, this void of liquidity from the sweep up in price to either maintain as supportive or fill and then go supportive for a bullish move. I'm not really looking for a bearish move until we break below that 80. There's no reason to look for it because buy side's still in control in the short term. But what do we know that's above us? Well, we know that there's a seller who's very adamant about keeping price below. We're seeing the seller push price down. We're seeing this buyer who's trapped. We're seeing all of this selling pressure here and then into all of these candles above us, right? Like there's not a lot of interest above our 60, and that's what we said. What we can see is that there's another void here, right, from our seller, which is why we were so interested in the 60 level, because if buy side is going to hold, I want to see this void from the sell side candle basically get filled and then hold as supportive. At no point were we able to hold 60 as supportive, right? So we're looking at this sell side void above us as our resistance, and we're looking at this buy side void below us from this 510 to 480 as where the bid's going to be. So we're basically rotating between this void and this void. That's how I looked at it. And so with this holding, I either need to see that bid really start to maintain above our 60s, or this is just going to be where sellers get trapped, and then we're going to rotate back down. I'm looking for this to fill, so I'm looking for a bid to hold into this 80 low, because we're seeing that there was a lot of buy side there, and we're just basically filling passive buyers into the structure. But as soon as we push back below it, I now know that this structure has been filled, and if we can't hold and get back into this range, then there's nothing here, right? We're unable to now hold above our POCs from our previous candle. We have a ton more sell pressure now with this buyer who's offsides above, and we've now filled our only buy-side liquidity that I was interested in below us. So now we're getting a lower high with trapped buyers above, and we've now broken below our pivot, our balance, right? Our edge of our balance at this 500 to 510. So as soon as we start seeing that 500 510 hold as that buyer to rotate us up in this upper auction that we just were chopping in for an hour, there's no reason for me to be bullish here because we've taken out this liquidity. and we've shown no interest of the range above us because we were unable to hold the 500 to 510 low, right? So if this liquidity has been taken out and we're showing no interest from secondary buyers at 500 to 510, we have to seek liquidity lower. So where do we target? Well, we target where there was liquidity on this push up, right? So POC of that initial bid candle into our 430. Does that make sense? So like, if we fill the liquidity void, we fill an FEG, we fill an imbalance, then that liquidity is gone. I'm now not looking for that liquidity there because we've shown no interest above, sell side's in control, we rotate down to our previous area of interest. That's the thought process. I hope you're actually taking that in and I'm not just wasting my time. For those that are just on YouTube and you want a copy of that drawing of that area for your reference, that's what this is. What we drew out, right? We have a drop, a basing, a drop, a basing, a liquidity void created from a sweep up from buyers, a liquidity void from a sweep down from sellers. And now we're just going to rotate between this balance here, this balance here,
tariffs over Greenland,
and this liquidity above. And then it's just, can we build in between this balance, above this balance, right? And into this liquidity, right? We chop in between until we either take out this liquidity above us and then make it supportive, or we rotate back down and then we just go down again, right? Like there's no in between. We're just chopping in between two auctions here. A seller who's above and a basing that occurred below. And that's what this is. This is a look into that liquidity above and a rotation back down into our basing. I seem chipper. I don't know about that, man. So we held our low. There's not really much to say.
Trump says I will announce Barr's replacement soon.
Found that liquidity into our PT, into our POC from the wick low. We've now created another liquidity void with the POC above, and we're holding that on retest, and now we're rotating back up. We're watching to see if we can get back over 80 or if 80 goes offer. If we can make 80 supportive again, then we'll look for that rotation back into our 500, 510. That'll be your target. Until then, you expect resistance to be here. Not really anything else that we can say. Watching to see if sell side's willing to just kind of sit here and rotate this back down, or if we can look back above 80s, and then this will be the rotation until we make that supportive.
Force for Canada.
I will be right back. I'm not going to be on for much longer. It's almost 12:30, but we'll see if we get a breakdown before I leave or not. I need to grab water though. I'm losing my voice.
Trump says we don't need anything that Canada has.
All right. I'm back. So listen, if what I'm saying is still kind of foggy to you, or if you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Remember, we have probably 14 hours of class going over this exact setup with real trade examples in our masterclass. You just have to go and watch the VOD. It goes in depth, in detail. I'm just giving you a very quick rundown of these trades and these areas of interest. But if you need more, you have a motherload of resources at your disposal where Mario went over this stuff in detail with tons of trade examples. And I implore you to utilize that and ask me questions if you need it. So if we get a lower high here, we should expect at least a test our lows. I don't know how old that message is. I mean, we held our pivot from 70 to 80, just rotated back down to our balance low. If we start to show this as an offer, you're looking for acceleration to start occurring below like 425. We need to see a seller start to really show interest. Like, really, like, big size, like here. Taking out this low. More downside to come. I mean, nothing about this looks bullish, guys. I'm not a fortune teller. I can tell you when we have fresh liquidity, but like I don't have fresh liquidity down here. We took out the liquidity, right? I don't know what's going to happen. We have a 3-bar to the downside right now with us holding 70 to 80. So your trade is you're looking for this to hold and you're looking to short back down to this as your resistance, right? Like this is the trade from here to here. I don't know what happens anywhere else. All I know is where liquidity is resting. I'm not a fortune teller. So when I tell you look for offer to be at 70 to 80, it's because I'm telling you that you should be looking for a short at 70 to 80. Right? Like I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we're in a strong downtrend with our seller lowering in value, our value, right? It's taking out buyers and making it our resistance. So do I expect us to take out our low? Yeah, probably, but I don't know. I mean, anything can happen. Trump can say that he's buying he's taking Bitcoin to 1 trillion and the market goes up. I don't know. Maybe he says we buy Canada tomorrow. But does it make sense for us to take out our low? Yeah. I mean, we're in a very bearish market right now. And again, like, I'm not trying to be a dick. I just like what we're looking at is again a look above, reoffer, and rotation down. Did we get a successful bid and hold over 80s? No. Did we get an offer show its hand again into our 70 to 80? Yes. Did we see a successful reoffer and a lower high get put in? Yes. Okay, well, I'm looking for this low to get taken out. Other than that, I don't know what happens in here. This is buy-side liquidity. Either this demand holds or it doesn't. If it doesn't hold, then we'll look for more downside. Does the overall trend support that we're probably going to rotate down another 200 points today? Yeah. If we lose this pivot, probably. New 15 opening below POC of previous candle, watching to see if 30 stays offer. Our 3250 here into PVZ POC. Actually losing my voice. Anything over 40, I figure we just rotate the full range again. Need to see offer basically hold here.
Trump says 2 bills could be quicker to pass priorities in Congress.
Where's Trump saying all this shit, by the way? Is this all Twitter? Like, where is all this news coming from? Ah, okay. Thank you, Kiz. The sound is terrible on this. What the hell? Is there full rotation off of the hold of 40s? Take risk off into the high. It's 20 points. It's the same trade, by the way.
Trump says I am okay with spending cuts. And Trump says I don't want to see debt ceiling default.
Watch this retest here into 30 to 40. Bid needs to maintain or it'll flip offer and we'll see a new low. This is the bottom of our balance.
Trump says, I just want to see an extension on the debt ceiling.
Bad dudes.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome back, brother.
Oh. Hello.
The president-elect just said some bad dudes were coming over the border.
Hell yeah. He was talking about the Canadians, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I agree. Can't wait to have 53, man. We're adding 3 more. Mexico? I didn't know Mexico was on the 4, make it 4. Puerto Rico's already a state. I guess, well, it's a province, right?
Yeah, it already counts.
Canada for Florida?
They can vote. That's what matters.
I think we trade Canada for California.
We do not want to get rid of California. So much money.
That's true. How would we get avocados? This is true.
It's like every tech company.
That's also true.
Let some more of them move to Texas first.
We gotta keep Florida though, Sinch. How are we supposed to go to Universal World or whatever if we get rid of Florida, man? Disney Paris.
Watching this reoffer 30-40. See if it holds. RTY testing bottom of range as well. Oh my god, what is that noise? Oh my ears.
An aeroplane.
Why are they just playing that noise on the stream?
Those- okay, I just clicked the link and I understand. Why is the entire chat Korean?
Good question. Is he done? Is that it's over? Okay. Thank God. Okay, well you're here. I can leave.
Yeah, we'll see how much value I can add. but I am here. I'm not deceased, Surf.
How was that pizza? Worth or no?
Sure. I mean, I can't taste anything. So.
That's why I was like, I don't know. Can you taste?
No, it was kind of sad because like Abby got her taste bag and she was eating it. She was like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "I don't know." And she's like, "It's so good. I'm so sad you can't try it." I was like, "I know there's 2.5 feet of cheese in it, and that's what's important." I don't know. I didn't lose my taste and smell until my death symptoms went away. It was very weird.
That is weird.
Like right now, I feel like how I felt every other time that I had COVID right now. But the last like the week before, I was in like pain.
Yeah.
Like I was in pain.
Uh,
It was bizarro.
first risk off here, guys. Off of your 30 to 40 offer that I just talked about. This is just back into our low. We want to see this low get taken out. Just move your stops down.
Yeah, you can head out of here.
Yeah, this is my last trade. I'm about to go take a nap.
Yep. Goodbye.
Oh. Do I leave the runner or not is the question. All right, so just before I leave, do we see this interaction and why we're interested in this area? Why we could look for that rebid of the 30 to 40 for the rotation up to our highs once we've re-entered balance off of creating an excess at our low? And then do we see, once we failed to breach, why we then look for this to then be a reoffer for the rotation down to take out the low? I mean, we just went over this up here. It's the same thing. But do we see it like playing out in real time now? Or no? This gave two trades, upside rotation and then the sell side rotation here that we're now in. It's literally the same sequence from our 80s above. Are you going to be on tomorrow? Or you'll wait and see how you feel today?
Yeah, I should be on tomorrow. But yeah, I'm kind of still playing it by ear for this week.
Yeah.
I should be fine. I should be here.
I just figured you might want to get another trading day in with us not having a Thursday.
Yeah. No, I do. Well, it's like, man, I haven't even I don't want to hold you here, but it was like I was so ready for normalcy after like all the holiday weeks. I was like getting so sick of it, and then like boom, it's just like abnormalcy again.
Yeah, they make a fake holiday.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Fed bids for 10-year notes total $8.6 billion.
Just looking to see if this low gets taken. Low taken. Sell side trying to step in here. Surely that's not all they give us.
ES has a better look, but it's still not very aggressive. A little bit of retests here. ES has a little bit more to come to the 70. And key retesting previous lows.
At 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we get the US selling $39 billion in 10-year notes, prior bid to cover 2.7 and a prior high yield 4.235%. So taking a look at some analyst notes ahead of this auction, against the curve, the auction sector has been putting in a concession recently versus the front end, as 2s and 10s spread has widened from around 0 at the start of December to current 37 basis points, which may appeal on relative value metrics. Against peers on the curve, the 7s, 10s, and 30s fly as marginally richer on the day, although remain close to levels seen around the December auction. Given improvements in yield levels, valuations, and liquidity conditions, JP Morgan strategists see the sale as being well digested. Latest CFTC positioning data shows speculators were net short 161,000 ultra 10-year note futures and 654,000 10-year note futures, a possible source of covering demand for the auction. Primary dealers' position in 7 to 11-year sector was net long $32.8 billion in the week ended December 25th versus $24 billion average net long over the past year.
I want to see pressure below 400s here. So offer to now hold. Rotation. Ideally to like 60s. We can hold. $400, $410 now is where your offer is trying to sit. RTY is about to cuck this trade. We start to bid back over 12, so I kind of expect this to rotate back up to 30, 40 on a recovery. Just keeping an eye on this bid, trying to step in here with Russell pushing. We want to see a look back below 400 for offer for rotations to 360.
At 1 p.m. Eastern Time, the US sells $39 billion in 10-year notes. Prior bid to cover 2.7 and a prior high yield of 4.235%.
Getting RTY here at this halfway back, an edge at like 265. So we're getting these secondary kind of re-offers on ESNQ, but
That's your 30 target here on NQ, off of our hold of our 410. This is one of Sauce's trades. This little basing excess hold of our high, rotation up. All right, yeah, that's probably it for me. That was a good last little scalper. I will talk to you later.
goodbye.
Peace.